let's talk about Victoria 3 mod debugging. This is kind of a complicated topic, but fortunately, it's going to stay the same across other versions of Victoria 3 because the methods that we learn here and we use here are going to be pretty much repeatable with other ones. And it'll also probably carry over into other games you may be playing. Good job there. All right, the first mod I want to look at is Liberate Country as Subject. I love this mod, and I wish that the mod author had more time in real life to be able to look at it, but such is not the case. I myself have neglected my own mods because I've had very little real life time, and I'm sorry. But if we're kind and patient and caring towards the people that we interact with, we increase the chance that something is done. Because modding people are people. And if you treat them with respect and patience and love, they will respond, and that'll come back into your life as well. I guarantee it. So that's the first part of troubleshooting mods. Patience. Don't get mad at them. They didn't ruin your game. No. You downloaded the mod to see if it made your game go better, and maybe it did in an earlier version, but now it's not. Or maybe it's the first time you've tried the mod and it interacts with some other mods you have, and that leads to an issue. It's not the modder's fault. It's not Paradox's fault. It's nobody's fault. This just happens when there's coding. Errors happen, and we try to resolve them. And once they're resolved, who cares who's faulted? It matters not. We go forward. So, this particular modder I know has had limited time. And it actually came as a pop-up because I'm sub to the discussion here. And with the release of 198, someone said, crash occurring in version 198. Okay. Well, that is the most basic way of letting somebody know that there could be a problem with their mod. But this is going to be frustrating to the modder because it doesn't give us information about what could be causing that problem. So, how do we become more effective? How do we become more effective in reporting what we think the issue may be? So that way we reduce the time it takes for the modder to hunt the issue down and increase the chance that we actually get a good resolution. Because if the modder can't find what's causing the problem, the modder can't fix it. If we can help them in their search, they can help us in our fix. So, and again, I really hope this one gets fixed because it should be in the base game. Come on, people. Thank you, Kate the Sybil, for making this. Thank you for making and showing us the path. Paradox. Integrate this. Anyway, enough of that soapbox. So let me take a look at another mod here where I had a bit of an adventure with the mod author in giving that more accurate feedback. And this is Morgenrot Dawn of Flavor. Wonderful mod. Mwah. A chef's kiss there. I don't like playing without it. I like playing with it. and unfortunately, back in June, I was having some issues. And I thought this was causing the problem. But I'm a member of the mod Discord. So right away, that's a better place to make that comment than on the Steam page, because the Steam page is not interactive. Even if you put at somebody else, here's what I think, everybody who's sub to it gets a little pop-up that there's a new comment, and maybe the guy sees it, maybe he doesn't. But on a Discord, we're going to see our comments in real time, and we can actually work things through. So that's a much better way to go. All right, so let me minimize this and go to the Morgenrot here. And I opened up a bug report. They actually have a little spot here that says bug report, and I made one called Carte du Ciel Conference. Basically, what was happening was around 1862-ish, every time the Carte du Ciel conference came up, I get a crash to desktop in this particular save game. Okay, so I explained it. It's November 1862. I get a pop-up. I get a crash. What do you need? Okay, so I mentioned that the console was not active, and I did a clean reboot and disabled some video thing in Windows 11. This is with Windows 11 being a big problem here. And I got 3 different times of the same condition. What do you want? Okay, so the response to that is, I played it. The guy says I played it today and it worked. Okay, that's the first area of doing a search to see, is it the mod or is it you? Or not really you, is it what you have running? It worked for this person, didn't work for me. So that's our first indication that it may be something else, that maybe what I saw as the issue was covering up the true issue. It's a masking problem. Be aware that that might be happening. Be aware that you may think this mod, because it's got so many things involved, is the problem, and that actually it's masking something else, that maybe a mod you thought was very simple and wasn't going to be an issue in 1.9's change, but it became one. And let's look into that. So he says, give me a mod list, tell me which country you are. If you can get a screenshot, awesome. And a save game would help us reproduce the issue. And that's why you need the mod list, so you can do the save game. Okay, I'll get them for you. Now, I went to go back into my where my logs are stored for my game, and they're not there anymore. They got wiped out because I guess they're too old. So I had to actually re-download the ones from this thread and save them locally just in case I needed to refer to them. All right, so where are we going to find these? Well, it's actually going to be in, here we go, your user directory documents folder. It's just my documents if you're on the Windows. Paradox Interactive Victoria 3 crashes or debug. No, I think it's crashes. Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's crashes. And I had to rebuild my testing folder because it was empty when I came in today. I thought I would have them. Anyway, but yeah, you'll find it, and they'll have the timestamp on it. The folder will let you know when it crashed, because it'll be year, month, date, time, everything there. And that's your crash. And you'll have the three logs that are most important are debug, error, and game. I think that there's a fourth one in there that was like, I don't care. It wasn't giving me any information. It just said, we loaded some stuff. That's fine. But these are the ones that tell me what went wrong. Okay, so I went through them and yada yada, posted them up here. Here they are. And then I see they all have the same final event. Script system error, event target link MG returned invalid object, script location events arts Manzoni events txt. And I know Manzoni events is part of the Morgan wrote folder structure because I've looked at it a lot, and I know like Manzoni, Panem, Vicalos, there's a couple of other names. They're all Morgan wrote. Got it. Boom. There you are. There was another event in there. I found the other event in the error.log, and there's a whole bunch of other division by zero errors. But it's your problem. Okay, I didn't quite hear myself as I typed that out loud. Division by zero error is probably going to be more important than couldn't load this one. I just thought I tried to divide by zero and failed gracefully. Well, it did crash out. It just said, we're not going to divide by zero. But going into this, we get Lord R's response. Now, Lord R is the author of he's the head of the Morgan Wrote project. Wonderful guy, great to work with. This is my brush with fame. The modder. But yeah, it's really nice to have. And he's saying, hey, you know what? This divide by zero, he's telling me, look at it some more. What's going on? Okay. So it says error change local variable effect, script location, common scripted effects, statistics effects.txt. Okay. Now, if you're reading ahead, you're going to get spoilers, so I'm going to scroll back, but don't worry about it. Anyway, yeah, it's a different mod, is what we're saying here. And this common scripted effects, this is in the directory structure of a mod, which will then overwrite any directory structure of Victoria 3. See, Victoria 3 will load everything first, then it starts loading mods. And then whatever's in memory from a mod will overwrite what was loaded before. And whatever loads last is on top and wins. Deep, that wins. So if you have a bunch of mods and they all modify file.txt, the last one that loads, those are the mods that go through. And then the other ones may get invalidated. This is also where if you have a particular variable, like Victoria 3 underscore variable underscore variable or whatever. I don't know. Whichever mod writes, you can have different files that have different names that are writing that overwriting that variable, and the one that has the file name that is alphabetically last is the one that makes that last change. So if more than one mod is modifying the same variable, look at the folder, look at the file names, and the one that has alphabetically the last load is the one that modifies it. This can lead to an arms race of sorts in modding, where you start putting the letter Z in front of your mods. I use 6 of them, so because I want my mods to work. I'm paranoid. I'll load last of all. No one else has got 6 Z's. If someone has 7 Z's, I will use 8. This is a little insane, but I digress. For purpose, but I digress. Okay, anyway. So he says, look at the statistics effects. All right, well, I've got a program that lets me do that. It's called DocFetcher. Now, DocFetcher it's basically a debugging tool. It allows you to take an entire directory and have it index all the files and be able to read in the text files elements and allow you to see where they show up in all the text files that you're working with. This is gold with a bunch of mods. Now, the way to do it is if you start off brand new with it, you'll have nothing in your search scope. So you right-click and you create index from, and then you select folder. And here it is. My first folder is Victoria 3 game. This is going to have all the game files, all the text files in the game, all the events, all the common, all the map, everything is here. So that's the first one I load. Second one that I'll load will be the actual directory for the mods. Now that's a bit tricky to find. Let's go, here. It's going to be in your Steam Apps, Workshop, Content. So you have Steam Apps and then other ways to go to get to the game, common, game, and all that. This is Workshop Content, and Victoria 3's number is 529340. It just is. It just is. I have other mods I have other games here, as you can see, but Victoria 3 is that one. And yes, if you happen to have memorized some numbers, you're going to go, oh, look, that's Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, hi, I play other games. That's fine. Anyway, so add that directory, and it will index all the files in that directory. If you update, like you add another mod, you change a mod, Victoria 3 gets updated, you will want to right-click and rebuild that index. I don't update the index, I rebuild the index because updating doesn't always catch everything. So rebuild index, and that'll get everything. It takes a few seconds, and away you go. Okay, so once I have those indexed, now I can type in statistics, and then I use the little asterisk wildcard. And it shows here's all the files that have statistics in them. Well, the actual file name was statistics underscore effects. So if I want to get more precise, statistics and then underscore effects dot txt. There it is. Got the file, and it says line 763. I've got, there's 126. Let's just keep scrolling. I could grab the scroll bar and scroll it down some more, but I usually miss and go way too far, and I'm almost there. See, talked right through set variable, infamy value, infamy. Okay, so this is the problem I have here. And if I want to know, okay, so I've got this scripted statistics effects mod, or that's causing the problem. What's the mod? It's Steam Apps 34259. That's a lot of numbers there. Well, I can right click and open parent folder. Ta-da! There it is. Okay. And there it is. Well, let's keep going with this because I want to know which mod it is. I won't find that information here necessarily. I go up a level. Still no help. I got a bunch of folders. Go up one more. This is why you put a thumbnail with your mods. Because I can double click on that and find out, it's the statistics mod that was having the divide by zero error. Oh no. The statistics mod. I didn't think that was going to be a problem because all it is doing statistics, right? Well, something changed in 1.9. And whatever logic or variables that the statistics mod was using at the time were not working with Victoria 3 1.9. And that's where the divide by zero errors came from. Okay, so I need to try this again by not loading that mod. Okay. And I noticed that there were some other divide by zero errors with it there. And said, okay, I got the crash again. Here's some more stuff here. And he does say it's probably not Morgan Rote causing it. I look in the debug log, and then I see some other issues with the Clear Sky mod. That's how I realized that was having some problems. I need to go with a different one there. And then the community mod framework, I thought it was having a problem because I saw all these messages here. And he said, well, those are actually irrelevant. Like, oh, I didn't know. Okay. He says, good thing you didn't open up one of the Morgan Rote windows because that currently spams the error log. And I go, oh, okay. He says, it's a warning that effect is overwritten, which is exactly what is supposed to happen. Okay, well, thank you. That's good to know. So if you see there's more than one effect defined, don't worry about those. Those happen. That's from a modder himself, a important modder, Morgan Rote modder. But then I tried one where I was just doing vanilla, and I said, hey, I get this one, failed to read key reference about Lepsius anthropology. That's a Morgan Rote one, Lepsius there. And all the historical rule, that goes on for a few pages. Then I got some politics and economic changes errors, but I wasn't loading them in this save game either. And he says, Vicky doesn't like it if there's a save game with rules that do not exist in the current save. But this was from a fresh restart. And there's some further discussion we had elsewhere that's basically, if you have save games that loaded mods that your current save game doesn't load, they still get in the mix. They still get in there. Mind blown. So I had to go back and delete all my old save games. And if I come back in without those mods at all, I don't get those error messages. If I have a save game with those mods, somehow those mods still squeak in there. Hi, just in case. What the heck? Anyway, so if you want to really get a clean test, delete old save games. And then, everything except for the one that you're working on, delete them and then try again. If you don't want to delete them because you really, 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 really plan to go back to them, you're probably not. But if you do, copy them to a different directory so they don't load. And then you can copy them back into your save game directory when you're ready to play them again. But chances are you won't. I don't really go back to old save games outside of my series. Anyway. But that's got to happen. So if I want to actually test this game without the statistics mod, I've then got to go back and try again, delete all the old saves, reference it, and then I'll be fine with that. Okay, let me go back up here. Quit looking at my desktop. It's not fair. It's not fair. Okay. Anyway, so going through these things, you can find different comments, and let's take a look at one of the files themselves here. Let's go to debug1.log, and let's expand on this. Here we go. Okay, starts off mounted data, Clausewitz, Jomini, platform specific game. It's saying what it's loading here. It's defining defines, and there's a lot of stuff happening here. Well, the good news is when you're crashing, generally you're crashing down here at the end. And this is where you're going to, you start at the end and work back up. And that's where you're going to find the issues. And here I have a bunch of invalid achievements here because I'm not loading some things, and invalid loads, and event Dubois orphaned, and variable null, and okay, so all these things are going crazy here. And we get a lot of these triggers here, and this is a lot of stuff here. I don't know what's going on. This is crazy. Let me go to the error log. And again, go all the way down. And this is just going to track all the errors. Oh dear, we have it. Here we go. This one. Script system error. Event target link commander military formation return an invalid object script location yada yada yada. Character interactions.txt on it. Let's look that up there. Copy it. Control C. I'm going to paste it and do some copy pasta and search. There it is. All right. What mod is doing that? Scroll across and it's Steam Apps Common Victoria 3 game. This is not a mod. This is the game itself. What? Line 75. Scroll down. Commander military formation. So this is remove command from ruler if he's a commander of a military formation that's not mobilized, and something's crashing with that. And this is happening in multiple games. And I kept finding it when I thought, like, okay, I've got rid of all the problem mods. I've only got really solid, just bare bones mods that don't touch anything. And I searched for this particular commander military formation in other mods. Like, where do I find commander military formation? Search for everything. Okay, I found all these, and I looked through all of them, and none of them were touching the, let's sort by path again, this particular character interaction. There was battle conditions, advance, whatever, but none of them were actually removing command from ruler. And for all the mods that referenced something about a commander military formation, it was the base game that was doing this. And I talked about that on my personal Discord, where some modders are active, among other things. And one of them suggested, I'll write a mod, and I'll fix that. And you know what? He did, and it worked. If I go to a Victoria 3 workshop, and if I look at my files under subscribed items, where'd it go? Oh yeah, that's right. I had to unsubscribe and resubscribe to a bunch of mods because that's another thing there. But this one here, Road to Chris's Workshop. Thank you, one of the finest Norwegian modders out there. No, really. Also, author some other good mods. Let's just take a look here. Oh, political and economic changes. Another brush with greatness. I love that mod. Anyway, yeah, this is thank you very much. And this is basically lets you remove rulers from command, even the military divisions they're commanding is mobilized. And this cleared up those errors. So this is an example of reading the mod, or reading the error logs, finding something and tracing it back not to the mod, but to the game itself, and how a modder who knows what they're doing can write a mod that will fix that error. This is the whole thing behind, there's another mod that's just the unofficial hotfix mod, and it will basically do things like this for the rest of the game. And a lot of the stuff that's in the unofficial hotfix mod gets incorporated into the base game. So, keep your eye on the mods, folks. Keep your eye on the mods. But definitely finding that particular error there was something that helped me deal with, find an issue that would keep my game from crashing. Now I got all these other Manzoni errors. That's what I was complaining about. Like, hey, I'm still getting these even though I'm not loading Morgenrot. Well, that's because I had the other the other save games there. Let's take a look at game log. All right, again, go all the way to the bottom here because that's where the crashes happen. And yep, there it is again. That character interactions, there's the Manzoni. If I want to look at the other ones, I'm free to do so. But some of them are just like, I can't show the building, whatever, we're going to move on. And some of these are not that bad. But the last one it recorded, invalid object, that one did get it there. Okay. So you're going to look in your debug, error, and game logs, go to the end, and try to find something that indicates what's the issue. Use a tool like DocFetcher and load in all your mods into one directory and load in the game in another directory, and then you can type in little things up here and it'll show everything that's there. I also do this particular exercise when I am trying to compare mods to see if I've got a new mod, is it going to conflict with other mods? I'll read through the files, I'll see, is it trying to modify the same things as this other mod is? And if so, how is it going to play out? Which one's going to load last? Which effect is going to take? Because if I have one mod, let's say I have two mods that modify the exact same thing, and that's all they do. They just modify one variable, and one loads last. Well, then there's no point in having the first mod. It just adds time to load the game. It's going to make a change that's going to get changed itself. That's it. Now, let's say this one modifies 2, and this one modifies 1, and the one that it modifies overwrites this. So we wind up with that. I may want to keep that. I may want to say, well, yeah, I understand that, this one overwrites the other one, but I like this value more than I like this other one, and this one's fine here, so yeah, I'll keep them that way. Or I could say, you know what, I actually like this change better, so drop that mod. That's one way I make a decision on which mods to keep. And if I look at my own mods, I make sure they load last because I put like a bunch of Z's in their title. Yes, it's an arms race, and I'm paranoid, but I know mine load last. So if you're having a problem with one of my mods, guaranteed it's one of my mods causing the problem because it loaded last. But I also try to change very small things with my mods. Just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 variables, and they're all in the same file. I don't want to get comprehensive. That's too much. And as such, there's one of my mods. I think it's the Obsessions mod. Mini Obsessions. That one doesn't seem to be working in 1.9.8. And I'm going to drop it because I really don't... with other aspects of trade being fixed, I don't think I need to worry about that. I'll just focus on the other ones I got and stay with them. But when you have something like DocFetcher, you can compare all instances of a particular variable name and how they are used in the different files and determine where you think the problem may be. And with that, you can then go to a modder and say, hey, I'm going to, I'll be happy to share all my log files, but I found this error here, and I think it's your mod that's doing it, like it was in the case with the statistics up here. Yeah. This is something where I can go to a modder and say, hey, I found this issue. This is a problem. This is what's causing a crash to desktop. This is it. We found it. Then a modder can take that information and go, all right, understanding exactly where that error was coming from, now that modder can look at their own mods and say, okay, this is where I need to make a change to make it more compatible. And if the modder doesn't have time, then just disable the mod until it gets fixed. Just disable it. And yeah, delete your old save games that reference that mod just to make sure it doesn't load. And then you have a nice stable run. With that, I'm going to now, if I get more time, I'm going to start adding more mods and play more Victoria 3. I have really not had much time for playing because Third quarter is crazy when you're doing sales and stuff, and I'm doing sales right now. And we're in your third quarter, and it's going to be the third quarter till the end of September. So, um, if and when I have time to work on Victoria 3, I'm going to work on adding some more mods to my mix to get more flavor in there. I've got like about 5 or 6 I want to turn on and see if they play well together. And once I have that done, I'm going to have another mod list. And I know 198 came out just now, so I got some testing to do with that. And I also know that 1.10 is coming out in later on in September. So whatever I come up with now, it'll be good for about a month. And then when 110 hits the streets, everybody step back. You know, if you're going to play a game, expect with mods, expect crashes. And you can use the ability to go into your documents folder, find your documents, Paradox Interactive, Victoria 3, look at your debug, your error, your game log. Error and game log I think are going to be the most helpful here. Go all the way to the end, see what's causing that crash there. If you should see other errors as you go through, that may be a problem. It may not be a problem. I think there are some things here where, like, I thought, yeah, you know what, this is, oh yeah, here we go. Here's a lot more of the statistics effects, divide by 0 errors, and this is like in the middle of the log. You may find some other things in there, just scoping around there. That'll help you determine where your where you've got issues, which files they are, and then a tool like DocFetcher. Have I mentioned DocFetcher enough? This is freeware, guys. Or, I'm not getting paid for this. This is a really good tool. You should use it. Kind of like Notepad++ is a really good tool. If you're programming a lot, you should use it. Just saying. If you're comparing notes, you should use it. If you're going to debug your Victoria 3 game, you should use it. So if you're having crashes, go to those error log and game log. Debug log is another one, but I like error and game best. Find the problem, look up the files in DocFetcher, locate it, and then you can right-click, open parent folder, and then work your way up. Oops, this is in the Steam. Let's go over here. Like open parent folder, work your way up, to the top level, get the thumbnail, and now you know what mod it's in. More icons for different orders, which itself had some issues in the game there, which we found as well. But yeah, this will tell you, okay, this is the mod you need to go to. Work with the mod author. If you make a comment on the workshop page, try to include that little snippet that you found in your error log or game log and say, this is the line that I think is causing that indicates your mod is causing the crash. If you have a Discord server that you're a member of where that modder is present, then please, share your error logs with them. If you're not, you can ask around and say, hey, where would I find, where would I find the author of Morgan Wrote? Well, have you tried the Morgan Wrote Discord? I have not. Oh la la, let's go there. And that'll help. So, ask around, and above all, as I mentioned before, be patient, be calm, be heart-loving, and all that stuff. You to be all the positive virtues. Be that towards the other modders, and it will help them feel good about modding for you. Because if you treat them with abuse, I have seen modders just pack up and go. Don't be that guy. Don't be that person. Treat people with respect. They will treat you with respect, and the world becomes a better place, and your game don't crash. So there you are. I hope this is helpful, and I hope you share this with other people who are trying to debug. And yeah, I should stop now because I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm good. Cheerio. Bye-bye.